Welcome back, everyone. We are here for another FYC Deep Cuts episode. Please make sure you're liking and subscribing, letting us know what you think of the show and what you got to say about the movies we're covering. I'm your host, Gagne. With me, as always, is the Nald Dog. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? How's it going, everybody?
It is going well.
Good.
This deep dive here, this deep cut, if you will, really made me want to watch a lot of these films. So
Okay.
let's
All right.
let's tell the folks what we got in store for them today.
We are going to be talking about the legend of John Hughes. So I think if you are young, you might not know who John Hughes is. If you were born in the 70s and were a teenager in the 80s, then you definitely know who John Hughes is. So
Yeah, and I think if you're a child of the 80s, as we were, while we were teenagers in the 90s, we were kind of getting into movies, and I think these were on a lot. I remember as a kid in the 80s. And so I remember being exposed to a lot of these films, fairly early on. Even though I wasn't a teenager, I didn't resonate completely, but I felt like, wow, this is what adulthood is like, or being a grown-up. I mean, it's amazing to dive into like what he was involved with, what he wrote. I mean, just take out there's a span from 1984 to 1987 where he did 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I
right.
mean, that's a gauntlet of good, funny comedies, like, coming of age films for teenagers. And to be on a roll like that, man, he was top of the game.
I mean, John Hughes created these movies for teenagers in the 80s, growing up in the 80s, and he did it so well that they resonate to the extreme with these movies. I mean, I never saw Breakfast Club until I was probably in my late teens, and I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a great movie, but if I had seen it as a teenager, my goodness, I'm sure I would have thought it was fantastic. I mean, I grew up with the 90s teen comedies.
Mhm.
So that's what I grew up with. But again, he's also done other stuff. I think that was his main stuff, and we could talk about his other things he was involved in aside from the teenage 80s comedies.
Sure. Yeah, that was his niche, if you will. That was what I think kind of put him on the map. But yeah, I mean, he went on after that to not really direct much, but he was hugely involved in writing some other great classics. Throw some out there. Obviously, Home Alone. He wrote Home
Home
Alone.
Alone. So he wrote Home Alone for those who don't know. He wrote Home Alone. However, he gave the directing job to Chris Columbus. Chris Columbus. But he wrote Home Alone 1, 2, and even 3.
Mm,
So
we'll
what else
forget
did he
about that
write?
one.
Yeah, he wrote The Great Outdoors. He wrote Dutch.
Yes,
Enough,
Mr.
but
Mom.
Mr. Mom. He also directed other movies that were not just teenage movies. Because I think he didn't want to be typecasted that he can only direct these type of movies. So he directed Uncle Buck, which was fantastic. I love Uncle Buck. And like you said, the other movie that he directed was Plane, Trains, and
Mhm.
Automobiles, which
Yeah,
has nothing to do with coming of age
sure.
teenage movies.
Yeah.
So, you know,
He was definitely he had a style. You name all those movies off, and they definitely just have a style. Like certain directors, just no matter what movie they make, you just can kind of tell that that's them. And all of his movies, whether they were set in the same kind of vicinity, I think he grew up in the Midwest. A lot of them tend to take place in like Illinois, or
Chicago,
just
right?
outside of Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So they have the flavor is the same on a lot of these movies, but I've always enjoyed the characters. I mean, I think there's some of the most memorable ones there. The Chet from Weird Science, Bill Paxton, who is
Yeah,
he is absolutely on our Rushmore. Okay, he's on the
I
FYC
think he
Rushmore.
is.
Stamp
Yeah,
it
he is.
now. His Chet as the older brother who comes home from the military and catches his younger brother doing stuff he's not supposed to is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, I I can't get enough of some of the characters. The scenes that he sets up are just they're funny, and I'll say yeah. I don't think that any of them are great per se. They're very good movies. They're very well done. It's another director who was very big on his music, and I felt like was very involved in the musical choices that he put. A lot of great 80s music. There's a wonderful Spotify playlist if you guys want to dig in. Type in John Hughes in Spotify and let the nostalgia
Okay,
relevant.
so speaking about music, and oh my gosh, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Breakfast Club, the ending, Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me. I'm not a fan. I know. I'm not a fan of that
What?
song. I don't know what it is, man. I get the same response from my wife. I'm not a fan.
I don't
I don't like
understand.
it.
Why?
I don't know. I
I don't
don't like it.
understand.
I rather listen to like Send Me an Angel from the 80s than Simple Minds,
Ooh.
Don't You Forget About Me. That's just my opinion.
Ye-
So go easy. That is my opinion. We're all allowed an opinion.
Yes, yes. I'm definitely not going to attack you for the opinion. I just don't know that I've ever met anyone who ever uttered those words. Uh, wow.
I don't like that song.
I'm shocked. I am shooketh over here. Okay, okay. Maybe that's why I love the Breakfast Club that much. And it ends like
No,
that, and you're
I like the
twisting the
Breakfast
air,
Club.
and you.
I like the ending. I do.
Yeah.
I don't like the song at the end. But then I don't like Madonna's This Used to Be My Playground from League of Their Own. So maybe it's just an ending thing with ending
Mm,
songs.
mm.
So
It's got to hit
I,
just right.
it's got to hit just right. And that song, I know it resonates, and I know it's the Breakfast Club, and it's the 80s. I just didn't do anything for me. But the movie itself, Breakfast Club, is a very, very well done movie. So I like the movie. I just
Yeah.
didn't like that song. That's
Okay.
all.
Fair enough. And hey, you're welcome to that opinion. It can be
Thank
wrong,
you. I
but you're
appreciate
welcome
it.
to it.
It could be wrong. Okay, whatever.
We're missing a huge franchise that we haven't even talked about yet that he was responsible for creating as well, which was the
National
Griswolds.
Lampoon.
National Lampoon's vacation movies.
Yeah,
He wrote those. He
he
gave
did.
us Chevy Chase as Clark Griswold,
Yeah.
Clark W. Griswold, one of the greatest characters. I think that I can remember for when it comes to comedy. I mean, God,
Yeah.
it just those movies are rewatchable. They're ones that I watch the Christmas Vacation one every year.
Do you like
Um,
the Christmas
love
Vacation?
it. Uh,
Okay, so I've tried watching that 2, 3 times, and I just don't like it. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. I
show
know
me
it's a
on the
classic.
screen behind you where John Hughes hurt you. So was it
Um,
like at Uncle Buck or
I don't know. I'm not a fan of that one. I
okay?
actually we even own that, and I don't like it. I don't know
Hmm.
why. I'm not a big fan of the National Lampoon's vacations, and
Mm.
I think Harold Ramis directed the first one, but John
Sounds about
Hughes
right.
wrote all of them.
Correct.
So,
I mean, I don't think John Hughes directed any of them, but he did write them. And so,
yeah,
again, where the comedy comes from, coming from the writing,
yeah.
obviously Chevy Chase had a big part in bringing that character to life. But wow, okay, I feel like I'm uncovering things about you that I had no idea about.
I'm so
We're
sorry.
peeling back the layers like a John Hughes teen comedy, um,
Okay.
where I'm being let down by the guy who I
No.
thought
But
I
see,
knew.
no, I like his movies. I do. I like
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller, like Breakfast Club. I
Yeah.
love the Home Alones. I mean, he didn't direct it, but he wrote him. I love The Great Outdoors. I don't think he
Oh,
directed The Great Outdoors, but
no,
he wrote it. I
he
think
wrote
he
it.
wrote it and produced it. I could
Mhm.
right,
Yeah.
but that's a great one. I love The Great Outdoors, and
That's an underrated comedy.
he uses John Candy a lot in a lot of his movies. And I read somewhere that he was, it really hit him when John Candy passed away, because they're really good friends. And
Mm.
and John Hughes actually passed away in 2009. For all those people who don't know,
He did pass away far too early. He wasn't even 60
no, he
when he
wasn't.
passed. And, somebody like that who he wrote a bunch of stuff that I didn't even realize. He wrote the Flubber movie for Disney. He wrote
That's
the
right.
live action 101 Dalmatians film.
He did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just things that, he gets so remembered, like you said, for the Brat Pack, that I think you forget that he had a very long career in Hollywood. It was ended far too soon.
Yeah.
But um, some of my favorites, I mean, honestly, like these are movies I grew up with. And so I think that he stands the test of time. And I go back and watch these quite often. A lot of them are just on that rotation. You got to get a John Hughes movie in once a year at least.
Absolutely. I mean, we get two at least once a year with the Home Alones.
Oh, there
So,
you go. What
I
would
mean,
you? Okay, any of the writing or directing, what would you say is your favorite
my
Hughes?
favorite writing or directing, I
Yeah.
would say Home Alone, The Great Outdoors,
Mm.
and Uncle Buck.
Okay. Weird Science is got to be hands down my favorite. for the Bill Paxton reason. For I love Anthony Michael Hall. I think that the music in it's phenomenal.
Did he direct that or did he write that?
He did both. He wrote and directed that one.
Okay.
So for me, just it's kind of science fiction because they create the character, and it's nerds, and I can relate to that from high school. So I'll say that that is absolutely my favorite one.
Yeah, that one, watching it I shouldn't have been watching that, and you shouldn't have been watching that either as a 10-year-old boy. But yeah, that one brought up a lot of feelings for me.
We get Robert Downey Jr. as a dickhead in high school.
As a jerk. That's right.
Good at being a jerk. It's awesome.
Iron Man's in that. I forgot about that.
He is baby-faced and all.
Yeah. John Hughes.
He's the man.
He is the man.
I would encourage any of you that haven't dug into some of his stuff, go back and watch it. It's it's definitely 80s, but they're good. I really feel like they're good, and there's a lot to his films. There's a lot of heart, there's a lot of music, there's a lot of teen angst.
But
check them out.
I think I would recommend Breakfast Club, at least that one, to anybody, just to watch it, just to kind of, I think that's his best one, or it's probably his most popular one, I would say.
Yeah, and probably because of the song at the end.
Nah. Don't you forget about me.
Only thing that thing is missing is a little Emilio yell at the end.
Emilio. Oh, he was so good. I love Emilio in it. All right. That's enough.
It's good. That's enough gushing about John Hughes.
Yeah.
We'll be back very soon for another episode of Deep Cuts. But for now, make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I'm your host, Gagne. With me, my partner in crime, the Nald Dog.
See you guys later.